With the Jets season in the crapper, poised to get the number one overall pick, the head coaching rumors have started to swirl, and one name that has started to come up is Bill Cowher. Is he coming out of retirement? This is Jets Talk. J-E-T-S, Jets! Welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, I'll be live tomorrow night with Matt O'Leary and Green Bean. We'll be talking all the shenanigans from this past week, the Raiders game, the Greg Williams firing, and now the new rumor that came out from Boomer earlier today, Bill Cowher possibly coming out of retirement.
Well, don't do this. Don't do this.
All I know is yesterday he was showing me and Nate like films of him coaching on the sideline where they had him mic'd up, and and Nate and I are looking at each other going, what does that mean? He's the one that told me that the Jet job, if they get the number one overall pick, is going to be really, really attractive. And it would, if they could probably hire whoever they want, depending on whoever Joe Douglas chooses. And I was like, you like Joe Douglas? He goes, oh, I love Joe Douglas.
Okay, Boomer, let's break it down. Bill Cowher will be 64 years old next year. He was the Steelers head coach from 1992 to 2006. He has a Hall of Fame career. Absolutely fantastic career. 148 wins, 90 losses, and 1 tie. He is 12-9 in the postseason. This is going to be very interesting. And let's break down some of Boomer's comments. He says he was showing Boomer and Nate film of him coaching. Boomer has never seen that in the 14 years working with him. So you can tell the guy is starting to get a little bit excited, starting to feel a little bit of that urge to come back and coach. Maybe like a Gruden, someone of that nature. He says, if the Jets land the number one overall pick is going to be really, really attractive. The Jets are. We're going to be really, really attractive. They could hire whoever they want. Could they hire Bill Cowher? Is that a person or a coach that could be on the horizon here? He then says, Cowher responded with, I love Joe Douglas. All the pieces are falling together. This is what, we're looking for in terms of, people being excited to be the Jets head coach. This is, whether it's Cowher or Harbaugh or, insert any other name that you're talking about, the fact that people are acknowledging that the Jets are going to be the number one landing spot for a head coach if we get the number one overall pick is something that a lot of us Jet fans have been saying all season. The media has kind of, thrown us to the side, and only over the course of the last few weeks have we really heard those rumors starting to come out like, the Jets aren't as bad. They're actually in a pretty good situation. We have a ton of cap space. We have a ton of draft picks. We have the potential of the next generational quarterback coming into our team. There's some foundational pieces. You have the franchise left tackle in Mekhi Becton. You have Quinnen Williams on the defensive line. There are pieces to work with on this team. Now, Bill Cowher's name literally comes up like every offseason, specifically when there is a Jets or Giants head coaching opening, because he lives in New York City or in the New York area. I don't exactly know where he lives, but basically every time a New York team is up for a head coach, this guy's name comes in and his hat gets thrown into the ring. And up to this point, we have not seen him, remotely entertain. I don't think he's even interviewed for any job since he retired. So is this far-fetched? I think it probably is. He's got a pretty cushy job with, CBS, I think is where he's at right now. He is kind of like Rex Ryan, where you're making good money, you're doing maybe a third of the work, maybe less than that. You think about a whole NFL calendar. You're going nonstop throughout the entire season. Does he really want to come out of retirement at 64 years old and leave his cushy job? I don't know. But one thing that we always talk about is happy wife, happy life. And Bill Cowher's wife is a huge Jets fan. So maybe if there is a situation where Bill Cowher can coach the number one talent in the country in Trevor Lawrence, and he loves Joe Douglas and he likes the situation that the Jets are kind of going into, then you know what? Maybe his wife is the one that pushes the domino over. We always talk about when you bring in the free agent, you bring in the coach, you bring in whoever you want, you got to wine and dine the wife. You got to take her out, give her the Amex, let her spend whatever she wants, treat her to a nice dinner. That's what has to happen. Now, if she's making the decision, then maybe this could be a thing. You never know. There's going to be some questions that we have to ask. So when we look at Bill Cowher, he has not coached in the NFL for now 15 years. So one thing you have to ask, has the game passed him by? First and foremost. It's a question that you have with a lot of coaches that have taken a lot of time off. Has the game passed them by. There has been 2 collective bargaining agreements since Cowher has left the NFL. So the rules have totally changed. Now, it's not like he's sitting in some vacation house across the country. He's breaking down film. He's talking about the NFL. He's around other people that are talking about the NFL. So he knows the trends that are kind of happening in the league. Aside from wondering if the game has passed him by and the rules and everything that has changed since he has been here, is he going to be able to connect with the players? It's a totally different atmosphere from the last time he was here. Social media wasn't really a thing back in 2006, or at least not to the extent that we have it now. Are these players so different that maybe there isn't that type of connection? Is it just too distant? Now, if you're asking my opinion, which if you're here watching this, I would like to think you would like to take some weight in my opinion. Bill Cowher, over the course of his career, has had a ton of different opportunities to mold his offense around a bunch of different players. A lot of us know him from the Jerome Bettis ground and pound style offense where he just, played tough defense and protected the ball. Now, he had a very limited offense when he had Neil O'Donnell. He had Cordell Stewart, where he had to build an offense around him. Tommy Maddox. And now you have Big Ben. He helped groom Big Ben into who he eventually wound up becoming. So there's precedent for Cowher changing the way that he develops his offense and the way he develops his team overall. First and foremost, this guy's a head coach. And to start things off, I guess, where my opinion is going to go, is he started his career as a special teams coordinator. And that is something that I have harped on this channel for a while. Guys like Joe Judge, guys like John Harbaugh were special teams coordinators. And those types of guys that become head coaches that were special teams coordinators, they intrigue me because they play with defensive guys and they play with offensive guys. Like there's wide receivers and running backs that wind up being gunners, defensive guys on special teams as well. So they have a firm grasp of both sides of the ball. Not to mention he was a head coach for, 15 years, 16 years, whatever it was. And he has the credibility. A hire like a Bill Cowher reminds me of a Bill Parcells type hire. This is an absolute culture changer. You bring him in and everyone immediately knows who the top dog is in the building. Now, I do think there are some legitimate concerns with the NFL passing him by. 15 years away from the game is a long time. Now, there is precedent for this. Dick Vermeil was out of the game for 15 years before he came back to coach the St. Louis Rams. Well, guess what? He hires none other than Mike Marks, who becomes the offensive coordinator, and they wind up leading the greatest show on turf. So a guy spending 15 years away from the game has won a Super Bowl and has built an entire offense in an incredible fashion. Like the greatest show on turf is called that for a reason. I think this could work. I'm not saying it will work, but I'm saying it could work in the event that it happens. Now, if you're bringing in Bill Cowher, I think you have to surround him with a very strong coordinator base. Defensive coordinator, I'm not as concerned about because Cowher has the defensive background, but you would like to have some updated knowledge there. The offensive side of the ball is really where I'm concerned. And with Cowher being 64 years old, I think you have an opportunity to try and bring in someone that you want to groom as your head coach. Kind of like a Bill Parcells and a Bill Belichick. Hopefully it doesn't happen the same way that did. But if you bring in someone like, for me, Tony Elliott, the offensive coordinator from Clemson, is the perfect guy to bring in because you bring his offense from Clemson with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor now immediately knows the playbook. He doesn't have to go crazy learning a whole new system coming into the NFL. Then with Elliott waiting in the wings, he becomes the assistant head coach and the heir apparent once Bill Cowher decides to hang it up in 3-4 years, whatever it winds up being. But he has that time to kind of change the culture of the Jets and then really push us into that next, tier as an organization. We saw that with Belichick. After Belichick left, the next head coach has really had some success. It was really the longest stretch of success that we've had, probably at least in the time that I've been around as a Jets fan for the last 30 years. I think you need a culture changer in here, and I think bringing in a coordinator that is able to build a team around this quarterback and around all the draft picks and everything, not to mention Joe Douglas, I think, loves the offensive line. We know he loves the offensive line. He's building the offensive line. He was an offensive line scout. He was an offensive lineman. Bill Cowher with that sort of running style mentality, that gritty mentality, I think it harkens back to that I don't know, almost primitive nature of like the NFL, and it really gives you that grit. But then bringing in someone like an Elliott gives you the spark of that new, fresh, coordinator, the new, fresh offensive schemes and everything like that. So for me, I think this is something that the Jets could do. Do I want to see it happen? I'd be excited if it happened. I really would. I think he's a great head coach, and I don't think head coaching necessarily doesn't translate. I think you can translate regardless as long as you build yourself up with a strong foundation around you. Guys, let me know what you think about Bill Cowher down below in the comments. Has the game passed him by? Do you want to see him as our head coach? What do you think about the rumors? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.